Hi, I'm Jessie Hedfeld. I work for Utah State University with Utah 4-H in the Agriculture and Animal Science programs. I am here at South Farm at the sheep facility, and this is a little Suffolk lamb out here at the sheep farm. We're going to talk about sheep nutrition today. The most important thing to remember when you're feeding your sheep is to make sure that they have plenty of fresh water. Sometimes we forget that water is the first and most important essential nutrient that we can give our lambs. If you have the correct amount of water, free choice water all the time, all the other building blocks can fall into place. One of the questions that we get asked a lot is about getting a complete feed. So whether you mix your feed at home or whether you're going to try and just have your own feed, the easiest thing for you to do is to find a complete feed from any local feed store. A complete feed means that it's going to have all of the nutrients that your animal needs to grow successfully and to continue growing. And we also want to make sure that we're getting a complete feed that's formulated for sheep, because sheep have a copper toxicity. So if we give them a grain that's meant for goats or for cattle, sometimes that copper is going to be too high and that can be lethal. When you go to the feed store, you're going to find feeds with a lot of different protein percentages. When we first get started, we're going to look at 16 to 18%, and then as our lambs get closer to finishing, we can lower that down to like 12 or 14%, and then increase that fat a little bit. That's going to help them build the muscle they need to while they're growing, and then put on that appropriate amount of finish right before fair, so they have that nice fresh bloom to them when you go into the show ring. Another part that is essential for your lamb's diet is to include some hay or some roughage. So sheep, when they're growing, are not going to need a ton of roughage, but it is important that they have some. We want to make sure that they have a long stem, which is about 1.5 to 2 inches long in our hays. So just that really leafy greens from your alfalfa is not going to be enough fiber to keep the bugs happy. So part of keeping the rumen happy, or the digestive system in our sheep, is making sure that their microbiome is also being fed appropriately, and that's where that fiber and roughage is going to come in. Now, you may have heard that you don't want to give your animals hay because they'll get hay belly, but that is actually not true. So we can avoid getting hay belly by using a really high quality feed, such as a high quality alfalfa or a really high quality grass like Timothy or orchard grass. And what that's going to do is that's going to pass through the digestive system pretty quickly, and that's going to keep them from getting that hay belly. If you see that your lambs are getting really bellied down, and we want them to have that nice tubular shape, if they're getting too bellied down, then you maybe want to either decrease the feed a little bit or find a higher quality feed to help balance that a little bit better. When we're feeding our lambs hay, we need to make sure that they're getting at least about a handful once to 2 times a day, but it's going to be a small portion of what they're getting. We're going to feed them about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of concentrates, and then we want to feed them about 1/2 pound of hay per day. Another question that we get asked a lot is about supplements. What is the magic supplement, or what supplement do we recommend? And although there are a lot of options out there, the most important thing to remember is that there is no magic potion, and that you cannot feed your way out of bad genetics. You need to make sure that you're starting with a high quality animal for your project, then you can feed to turn a good animal into a great animal. But all those like special supplements and everything, as long as you're feeding a high quality complete ration with good quality forage and plenty of water, you shouldn't need to add any extra supplements.